Well, first of all, I want to thank Senator Scott for leading this conference and for Senator Lee for leading on this bill. He's provided a pretty complete explanation of why I think this is necessary. Yeah, I just wrote a column for the Federalist last week where I kind of laid out, certainly my rationale, but I also tried to debunk, so much of what we hear from Democrats, from the mainstream media that, our elections are perfect and these things are totally secure. It's simply not true. There's one side of the political spectrum that does want to make it easy to vote, but wants total election integrity. There's another side that wants to make it easy to cheat, and I think you know who that is. One of the things I pointed out in the column, for example, in Wisconsin, is much as we're told that 2020 was the most secure election in our history, that's not true. In Wisconsin, we had 170 absentee ballots, and I'll be charitable here, they were improperly cured by election clerks. That's not allowed by Wisconsin law. Now, the Supreme Court didn't want to, remedy that because the remedy was almost unthinkable, tossing out 170,000 votes. So that improper action stood. We had Zuckerbucks and, pay for people that pretty well took over the Green Bay election system to the point where they put so much stress on the election clerk, she resigned, and then their political hacks took over the election system for the 2020 election in Green Bay. We had something called balloting in the park, completely illegal in Wisconsin, and yet 117,000 ballots were harvested during that event. We had seniors voting without the proper supervision by election helpers. So there were so many things indisputable in Wisconsin, where it was a very close election. And for anybody to say that illegal immigrants can't vote or non-citizens can't vote, it can't happen. We know that they do. In my column, I point out, for example, Mike talked about Texas, Virginia, just recently purged over 6,300 non-citizens from their voter files. They did it by comparing DMV records with their election system. Again, 6,300. In Boston, 70 individuals requested to have their names taken off the rolls. I'm sure that they don't want their immigration benefits impacted. In Ohio, where they went through a multi-phase audit, 499 non-citizens were taken off the rolls. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. When you have the Biden administration with an executive order telling their federal agencies, possibly unlawfully, to register voters, anybody think that the Biden administration is going to register voters in a nonpartisan way? And I'll just end on this note. I mean, I can think of no other reason that a president of the United States, a vice president who's the border czar, Democrats in Congress would support and promote and facilitate an open border that is a clear and present danger to this country. The rapes, the murders, now that the Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment cities, laying the seed for taking over communities like the cartels do in Mexico. This is unbelievably dangerous. Why would you, as a responsible elected official, do that? I can think of no other reason than to bring in a bunch of people very grateful to you and encourage them and facilitate their ability to vote unlawfully. That's the reality of the situation. It's an awful reality, which is why, in the end, we should do everything we can to pass the SAVE Act to at least mitigate that harm. And I guess next, Senator Marshall.
Yeah. All right.